SmartB Sports Update Podcast is brought to you by Optimum CBD. For all your rest and recovery needs, CBD products are your best bet. Go to optimumcbd.store to order now. Free delivery on all orders over $99. You must be over 18 to order. I use Optimum CBD products personally for my rest and recovery. I train 6 days a week in Jiu-Jitsu, as you've probably heard on the SmartB Sports Update Podcast. I teach, I train, I compete. And without Optimum CBD products, I wouldn't be able to do it. Optimum CBD for all your rest and recovery needs. And we're on for episode 97. I wasn't here for episode 96, and you were. And it was awesome. I gave it a listen, of course. And Craig Bellamy pipped you in the expert tips, unfortunately.
He got me. Yeah, I did ask you if there was any prize for winning the expert tipping comp, and you said there wasn't. So I thought, well, I'm not going to be boring here. I'm going to make this last game interesting. And obviously, I knew Gowie was going to tip the Panthers, so I thought, well, I've got to go the Storm here to make this interesting. And he got me in the last game. So well done to him, and well done to the Panthers.
The prize for you would have been the fact that you beat Craig Bellamy in tipping. As it is, we still beat Piercy, so it's fun. And Julie Stock, both of us beat her. So, yeah. But it was a pretty good game, I thought. What did you think of it?
Yeah, well done to the Panthers. First team, one of now only 3 teams to win 4 premierships in a row. The first team to win 4 in a row since that great St George side. We've talked about them a number of times. 1956 to 66, who won 11 in a row. They were the last ones to win 4 premierships in a row. So, well done to the Panthers there. A great effort from Liam Martin. Great game from him. Claiming, I think it was a deserved Clive Churchill medal win. Scored a try, had a try assist. So, the only other second rowers to win the Clive Churchill medal, David Furner in 1994, Gorden Tallis in 98, Craig Fitzgibbon 2002, Luke Lewis in 2016. So, he's really joined an exclusive club there, Liam Martin. Well done to him. An excellent game.
He's just gone forward in leaps and bounds this year. His best on field really for Origin. And then just all year he's been, the best back rower. Pretty much up there, one of the best back rowers. And then, it was all the way through that game we were tossing up who's going to win the Clive Churchill. And then everyone I was watching it with settled on him. So, there you go.
Yeah.
Once he scored that try, it was yep, all right, he's got it. That's for sure him now.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who said, it wasn't the best grand final of all time, and it wasn't. It was a little bit dour, but it really was a war of attrition. It was just 2 teams trying to outlast one another. Just really playing a possession, field position sort of game, just waiting for their opportunity. And the Panthers just outlasted the Storm there. That's 3 tries to 1. It was a real war of attrition for the purists, I think.
Well, I think they both had their plan, and Penrith just executed it better. Because even in the attack, when I was watching, I was discussing it. Penrith, every pass basically changed direction. That seemed to be their plan, change direction. So ball was going right, the next player was going left. If he passed it, the next player was going right. If he passed it, the next player was going left. Yeah. Whereas Melbourne was one out straight up the middle over and over and over again. Yeah. Hopefully, kicking to the corners, hoping for an error, good rugby league, but it just didn't work against Penrith.
And it was almost as if Craig Gower on the podcast last week, it was almost as if the Panthers listened to their old captain, because he said on the podcast, Penrith can't afford to play one out because that plays into Melbourne's hands, and they didn't. They really didn't. As you said, turned a lot of balls back on the inside, obviously trying to change it up a lot, trying to, be unpredictable, which is what you have to do against that very structured Melbourne defence. So it was really well planned by Ivan Cleary, and just that, as you said, turning the ball back on the inside all the time, never allowing Melbourne to get into any defensive rhythm, really.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Melbourne in their attack, Melbourne couldn't come off their line. They weren't making meters, and it was because they didn't have that same kind of, not creativity, but unpredictability. It was just, for Melbourne, it was they were just playing how you're supposed to play rugby league. hit the ball up, hit the ball up, hit the ball up, hit the ball up, kick to the corner, defend. One thing about it was 4 minutes into it, Billy Slater started to talk about Melbourne were fatigued, and that became the theme of the night. That was our drinking game. Andrew Johns and Billy Slater must have said the word fatigue 85 times.
Yeah.
It was driving us nuts. Yeah. It was hands on hips, down in black pay, fatigued. Have you noticed,
I know this is a little bit off topic, have you noticed how often commentators use the word moment now? Yeah. Everybody says moment all the time. It's a new thing. It seems like they're doing the same thing with fatigue,
just over and over and
saying
over.
Saying it all the time.
It's like they have media training or something, and these are the words you want to use.
Yeah.
These are the words that will get picked up by the algorithm.
Yeah, look, we may as well, seeing as we're talking about this Penrith thing, we may as well merge our first two items together here with this Melbourne attack failing to fire. Now, only one try for the game off a dummy half scoot from Harry Grant. Like, everybody talks about Craig Bellamy being a brilliant tactician. Well, where was it on Sunday night? It wasn't there. One try from a dummy half scoot for the game. And I know people are going to say, oh, look, you're a bit harsh because Penrith are a great defensive team. Melbourne beat Penrith the two previous times they played them this year. The last time they played them in round 24 at Penrith wasn't that long ago, only round 24. Melbourne won 24-22. They scored 4 tries. Only one try on Sunday night from a dummy half scoot. Where was the attack? Where was the grand plan from Bellamy? Bellamy's always been great at, identifying the really little weakness in the opposition and exploiting it. Where was that on Sunday night?
Well, it was exactly like that. Strangely, worst time for it to happen in a grand final. Melbourne just didn't change. They just didn't change.
You're right. They didn't have a plan B, right?
They weren't making meters, and they just didn't change. It was just, very typical. Look, I guess since the era of Melbourne, the 2007 kind of period, that has been the standard of who is the best football team in the league, right? It's the team that can defend their way into errors. So it's 5 hit-ups, kick to the corner, force an error, or wait for an error. 5 hit-ups, kick to the corner, wait for an error. 5 hit-ups, kick to the corner, wait for an error. But it's not going to work a bit against Panthers. And last time they didn't do that. They had some creativity. I don't know. You get some of the blame, I guess you can say, goes to the halves.
Yes, I thought they were a bit off. Munster and Hughes.
And I thought, Pappenhausen was going really well, but he wasn't getting the ball that he needed.
To make a comparison, you bring up Pappenhausen, right? He finished with 91 metres. Edwards ran for 213 metres for Penrith. That's more than double the input from Edwards.
He was getting good ball from his halves and his dummy half and the from the back rowers especially, whereas Pappenhausen was trying to. You would see him run a lot through the line past the ball because the ball wouldn't come to him. So I think he was really limited by the Melbourne attack that was just one out, hit the ball up, hit the ball up, hit the ball up, hit the ball up, kick to the corners. And then it was because the Panthers were running back on the inside. Oh, we'll go outside this time. All the angles. Dylan Edwards could run in support and collect any offloads that came. Yeah. Penrith outplayed Melbourne. That was really it. And it was. I don't think the Penrith attack defense stifled the Melbourne attack. I think the Melbourne attack didn't throw anything at Penrith.
No, they didn't.
And so Penrith was able to weather anything that Melbourne did. And then just play the Penrith game.
That's the thing, that one try from a dummy half scoot, you're only going to get one try like that in a game. Only one. You got to come up with more than that.
Well, try it again later. They cannot fall for it twice.
Yeah, that's right. You're not scoring that try. It's like trick shot tries. If someone scores a trick shot try, that's great, but you're only ever going to score it once. But Munster had that knock on in the second half at a crucial time. We'll get to it a bit later on report for that alleged bite. He was later cleared of that, but we will talk about that in more detail later. And Hughes, I really think the Dally M medalist, he didn't offer much in attack at all.
Yeah, well, that was... I don't know if it was that was the game plan they went in with and then they weren't instructed to change it, but isn't that what your halves and hooker are for, to call the audible and say, hey guys, this isn't working? After the second try, they were still in it, in theory, because they were only two scoring plays down. You know, Penrith never got more than 2 scoring plays ahead.
Yeah.
They were still in it, and they just kept trying the same thing. It's like, guys, this hasn't been working for 70 minutes. Let's keep trying it. It's not the way you want to go.
And I thought, yeah, exactly. And I thought what Penrith did really well was they made those Melbourne middles work really hard in defence. Harry Grant finished with 59 tackles. They just wore out those middle forwards for Melbourne.
I read a thing today actually that was quite like I really think Melbourne was missing Nelson Asafa-Solomona.
It's that play the ball speed, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, and Craig Gould talked about it last week. The quick play the balls are crucial from your forwards. They give your halves more time. And that's where the match is really won at the Rock.
Like it's not a thing where you could say if Nelson was in it they would have won, but I think like you could tell.
Made a difference.
Yeah, it made a big difference, and perhaps Melbourne would have had more time to come in to do some more creative plays if they had Nelson or Solomona there. But then again, you can also say that guy's going to get sin bin and open up the door for free tries.
Yeah. Good Nelson would have been good, not bad Nelson.
So it was a pretty fun game. No, it wasn't a good game, and you know, they were talking about the intensity as well over the first part of half an hour, but it was just a rather standard rugby league game.
And some of these metres from these Panthers, like Nathan Cleary, 200 metres from a halfback. Brian To'o, 213 metres, and he didn't even play the whole game, came off at the 58th minute. Isaiah Yeo, 233 metres. The back three of the Panthers, Edwards, To'o and Taruva, had 646 metres between them. Extraordinary numbers. That's now 12 of their last 14 the Panthers have won at Accor Stadium. They had 57% of the ball in that first half as well, the Panthers. I think, as you just mentioned before, it really sucked a lot of juice out of the Storm early and they were fatigued. Shall I say that? Shall I say that word? They were fatigued.
From the fourth minute, according to Billy Slater. From the fourth minute. Well, that actually highlights a good point, you know. To'o came off in the 58th minute. At least 22 minutes to go. As I said, the Panthers were never more than 2 scoring plays ahead. And that should have been... We thought when we were watching, like, actually, game might be over here because Melbourne will just start attacking that side. They'll hammer the high ball. They'll run down that side because the defensive edge won't be as good. And they didn't. They just stuck with that game plan that they'd been doing for the past 58 minutes that wasn't working and kept doing it. But, really you would have expected, To'o's off the field. Their number one choice winger that's been there all year, that, they have all the combinations formed with and they've had to do a reshuffle in the back line. They didn't.
Yeah, that's right. And as you say, Melbourne were the best side all year. As I said, won the 2 times they played Penrith earlier in the year, finished as minor premiers by 2. They were 2 games clear as minor premiers. So they were the better side this season. I really think, and Brad Fittler mentioned it, he said in the pre-game coverage as well, he said, you might not think grand final experience is that big of an issue, but when things start to go against you, it can be a real issue. And I think the fact that the Storm only had 4 players in their side with previous grand final experience, Pappenhausen, Munster, Hughes and Welch, they were the only players in their side. They had Nelson as well, but as we know, he didn't play. In comparison, the Panthers had 8 players with that previous experience. So I think that the lack of grand final experience for the Storm compared with significant grand final experience for the Panthers, it really told in the end.
Yeah, I think that's totally it. Like, it was... As I said, if Nelson Asafa-Solomona had been there, it would have made a big difference because also in that, another player with grand final experience. And now we have to wait till next year to see Panthers lose. The second the whistle blew, the siren blew, my mate Seth turned to me and said, "Great, now we have to put up with another year of Jerome Luai bragging." Yeah.
Sorry, just to clear that up, though, those 4 and 8 I was talking about, those are players remaining from the 2020 Grand Final. I'll just clear that up. So there were 4 remaining Storm players from the 2020 Grand Final. As I said, Pappenhausen, Munster, Hughes, and Welch, and then the 8 Panthers players who were left from the 2020 Grand Final. So I think that really did tell a story.
Think about that, right? Almost half of the Penrith team wanted revenge as well. you know.
That's right. Absolutely. And this inexperience, it was a bit of an issue for Melbourne. I mean, Lazarus Varleep, who he entered the game off the bench at the 63rd minute, was just his 7th NRL game, the most inexperienced grand final player since Canterbury's Stephen Price in 1994. Wow. So this inexperience from Melbourne, I think it really did tell.
One of the Melbourne players, the first interchange, his first touch of the ball, he dropped the ball. You know, there was little things like that Melbourne did that were kind of you can say they're uncharacteristic. You can also say Panthers was so good in defence and rattling Melbourne and being more experienced. That's what it came down to. Congratulations, Penrith. Congratulations, Gowie. We hope you don't win next year. And yeah, we have to put up with Jerome Luai's bragging for the next year.
Yeah, the Panthers only conceded an average of 9 points in their last 12 finals games, and Penrith made 53 tackle breaks to 29. So they really won the attacking battle.
Yeah, definitely. But we were talking about before the cameras came on, the Jack Howarth try.
Yes.
Not try, bunker, try thing.
Yeah.
That's now the TikTok conspiracy theory. Doctored footage using AI to make an arm be in there.
Well, Phil Gould and Paul Gallen thought the images were doctored on social media. So
Taruva's try is a try, then Howarth's is a try as well. Internet conspiracies are going wild. So, as I was saying here before, the call went up, no try. And I think that was it. Like, the bunker couldn't find any way to overturn it, and so that was it. If it had gone up try, I think it would have been a try, but it went up no try. Everyone wants the ref to make a call, and the bunker simply backed him up with his call. Like, yeah, and it's going to be one of those things where they, you know, like, I think I've mentioned it before, people still talk about, I mean, like, straight after the grand final in 2010, people talked about Brett Morris going out, and that changed the game and made it so the Dragons won and stuff, and that's what this is. Like, they're going to go, you know, if he had scored, it would have changed the game. Simple fact is they let in 2 tries. Melbourne let in 2 tries.
Yeah, well, Penrith won 3 tries to 1. If you give Melbourne that try, it still would have been 3 tries to 2. I know it changes the game if it goes back to 10-all. I get that. But at the end of the day, you can't really blame that one decision on the result. Anyway, what I think actually happened was the vision that Channel 9 showed, the angle that they showed, it really did look a lot like it was a try, but you see that close-up vision, and it's just that his arm was the same colour as the ball. If you see the vision right close up, you can see that the ball didn't touch the ground, it was an arm. So I think that's what happened. That's where the confusion was. On that angle that was further back, the one Channel 9 showed, it did look like a try, but the closer look showed up that it wasn't a try. Channel 9 really should have gone back and looked at that more closely. Why was it just the NRL showing journalists that angle? Why wasn't that angle shown to the millions of people watching it at home? They should have been shown that angle and showing that it clearly wasn't a try, rather than showing this angle that was further back where it looked like a try and have Andrew Johns blow up about it and leave it at that. No, you've got to go back and revisit it, look at the vision that shows it up for what it is, shows clearly it wasn't a try, and then comment on that. What terrible amateurish coverage from Channel 9 there.
And yeah, that's the Graham Mennersley was asked, does Channel 9 have this footage? And he said they have all the footage from the bunker.
And they didn't show it.
Yeah.
They didn't show it. It's pretty important.
Yeah, it's going to go down in history kind of thing, and we'll forget about it next year. Melbourne people will care about it forever.
Yeah, well, John Ralph, the AFL journalist, he only showed that angle, the Channel 9 angle, where it showed that it looked like it was a try, and he was blowing up about it. Well, I think John Ralph should stick to AFL. He should have looked at the closer angle. It was doing I know it wasn't on Channel 9, but it was doing the rounds on social media, and he was on social media, so he should have seen that before he went and, got on his high horse on Twitter.
Every AFL pundit is now looking for any excuse to bag the NRL after that debacle of what they called a grand final. You know, that's the thing. Like AFL's bagging the NRL because you couldn't even sell out ANZ. It was only 89,000 people seats instead of 89,150. We sold out the MCG or whatever it is. Like they're looking for anything because after that garbage that was served up by the AFL last week, they need to look for anything to criticise the NRL.
Yeah. John Ralph really should stick to his AFL.
Yeah, exactly. Just stay in your lane, brother. Yeah. There was also the biting controversy. And so, as you said, alluded to before, Cam Munster was cleared. No charges. My understanding is because Paul Alamotti said he didn't want to go on with it.
Okay. So it's interesting you mentioned that because Stephen Crichton didn't want to go on with it with Kyle Flanagan, and Kyle Flanagan got a 4-game ban. So it's funny how Kyle Flanagan got a 4-game ban and Cameron Munster got off scot-free given that.
There's a whole bunch of things around this one, right? Because the Kyle Flanagan one, exactly as you said, right? Stephen Crichton didn't want to go in it, but the NRL chose to charge him anyway and ban him for 4 games. Then there's the, I think the Jack Whiten one where Jack Whiten had his...
Might have been with Tyson Gamble, I think.
Yeah, it was Tyson Gamble.
Oh, no, I think they were the two.
Yeah, like
it was Jack Whiten
had his arm
Gamble.
around Tyson Gamble's mouth, and his arm slipped into Tyson Gamble's mouth, and it caused a bite, which is what happened here. And Jack Whiten copped a whole bunch of... It was like 6 weeks or whatever. Cameron Munster didn't cop anything. You know, so there's all these pathways to previous bites, except for... was it Brad Moran and James Graham? They were completely different. But yeah, there's all these pathways to previous ones in recent history in which it doesn't make any sense actually for Cameron Munster not to be suspended right now, because first of all, it was the kind of thing. Okay, Alamotti's arm was around Cameron Munster's head, and it went inside his mouth. Did he clamp down or not? I don't know. But, Alamotti pulled his arm away like, and he had teeth marks, right? That's what happened to Jack Whiten. Jack Whiten got banned. Cameron Munster didn't. Alamotti didn't want to go on with it. Stephen Crichton didn't want to go on with it.
Cameron Munster gets off scot-free. And I know James Graham went full Hannibal Lecter on Billy Slater in that grand final. But you do it too, Melbourne, you get a lengthy ban. Melbourne do it, they get off scot-free. So I don't want to hear from anybody that Melbourne are being badly treated by the NRL anymore. Because I think they get a good deal somehow.
It's pretty... Well... Maybe it's because there's so many halves out for the Australian matches. What's it called? The Pacific Championship. They had to let Cam Munster off because Nathan Cleary's out.
Yeah, Cleary's having that shoulder surgery.
Daly Cherry Evans has been dropped. We
will get that. Is on our rundown. We will get to the Kangaroos squad a bit later on.
But, they need Munster. Munster's probably in it, right?
Yeah, I think it's the old NRL going, it's the grand final, let's bury this one, let him off, let him play in the Pacific Championships.
Dumb. They there's been for years the old boys and legends talk about it came up again for Nelson Asafa-Solomona where major games shouldn't be counted in bans. So they reckon Nelson should have been allowed to play the grand final. Right? I don't agree with that. I think it's...
I don't agree with that at all.
I think it's...
I don't agree with that at all because if you do that, then you're opening the door for, in a prelim final, for somebody to go, I'm just going to clock that player I don't like because I know that I'm not going to have to serve the ban next week. I'll serve it in the first 4 or 6 weeks next year.
Then you have the flip side where, it's in a grand final, so, we'll just let bygones be bygones and... We won't worry about it so much because it was a tough grand final, so therefore Cam Munster should be, we'll go a little bit easy on him.
James Graham bites Billy Slater in a grand final, gets suspended for half of the next season. Cameron Munster bites in a grand final and gets let off scot-free.
Bites exactly like Jack Whiten did. Very... suspect and weird. A lot of weird stuff coming out of this grand final. But there always is. And so you asked the question, does a fourth premiership win put Ivan Cleary above Craig Bellamy? Craig Bellamy has 3. What we have now is we have in modern coaches, Wayne Bennett obviously leads the pack with 7. followed by Ivan Cleary with 4, then Trent Robinson with 3, and then
Bellamy as well.
Bellamy with 3 and Des Hasler with 2. The only judgment you can have on a coach, I'd say, is how many premierships they win.
Well, it's like, isn't it? It's like tennis play. It's like we talk about Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, and Roger Federer a lot on this podcast. We don't talk about their win percentage. We don't talk about how many Grand Slam finals they made. We talk about how many Grand Slams they won. It's the same with these coaches, isn't it? You judge them on the premiership wins.
The only way you go down a statistic to something like minor premierships or grand finals made is when you have a tie. So when you look at Trent Robinson and Craig Bellamy with 3 each, then you go down the rabbit hole of, well, Bellamy is above Trent Robinson because Bellamy's made 5 grand finals. 5? Yes, 5.
Seven. It's actually Bellamy's actually now he's actually equalled Wayne Bennett's record of 10 grand finals as coach.
10. Oh yeah, because I forgot about the Manly ones.
Yeah, so
it's 5 in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I'll just
no, not 5 years. It's 5 in the last since Trent Robinson's been around.
Yeah, I'll just go through it. So Bellamy's grand finals, right? They won it in 07 and 09. They were stripped, so they didn't count. Also won it in 12, 17 and 20. But he's now lost 5 grand finals, 06, 08, 2016, 2018 and 2024. So in 10 grand finals, he only has 3 premierships to show for it. It's like Andy Murray won 3 Grand Slam titles and made 8 other finals, lost 8 finals. So Andy Murray's 3 from 11, Craig Bellamy's 3 from 10. That's the thing with the 2 strip. He's only got 3 premierships to show for all this dominance, all this Storm dominance, and everybody talks about it. They've been the dominant side for a very dominant side for the last 20 years, and they've only got 3 premierships to show for it now.
I mean, Ivan Cleary is above Craig Bellamy because he has 4 premierships. That's really the only indicator. But then when you move into the draw, the tie, you have Ivan Cleary, Craig Bellamy versus Trent Robinson. Trent Robinson.
That's when you look at other factors like win percentage, number of grand finals.
Exactly.
But the first
only premierships.
The key indicator is the number of premierships, isn't it?
And nothing else. You don't take into anything else. It's number of premierships.
Yeah, I mean, and Cleary made 2 other grand finals, lost in 2011 with the Warriors, lost in 2020 with the Panthers. So he's 4 from 6 in grand finals. Bellamy is 3 from 10, 5 from 10, but had 2 stripped. So he's 3 from 10. They don't count.
He's won 5.
He's won 5, but only 3 count. So he's only 3 from 10.
He's won 5 grand finals, but only got 3 premierships.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's also, but that also comes into it as well, right? So you have to think like Craig Bellamy is below Trent Robinson because even though they both have 3, and yes, Craig Bellamy has a much worse win percentage in grand finals, he also has that. His name is tarred because he had the salary cap cheating. It's no different for when a fighter they've won, like John Jones has won 49 fights or whatever the bloody hell. It's not 49. Don't call me out on social media.
Well, it's the same as Yannick Sinner, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like they have one, but they pop for steroids. So it tars all of it.
Yeah.
All of it is now suspect. So
and he would have known about it. This idea that he didn't know about it, come on, give me a break. He would have known about it.
All of the individual.
So it does tarnish his legacy.
The thing with that, we can get into that one day maybe, but the thing with that is each individual player who was over the salary cap also knew about it. They may not have known that everyone in the club was getting salary cap things, but when you're getting told to invoice the club for extra money.
When you got 2 contracts, 2 sets of contracts.
And they all pulled out this I don't know. But heaps of them also came from other clubs.
Yeah. Hey, Cam, here's your contract. Oh, here's another contract. Yeah. Oh, didn't I just sign one the other day?
Is that you go there at the Roosters I didn't have 2 contracts. So, that tars him. But it definitely puts Ivan Cleary above...
Okay, Craig Bellamy. We agree Ivan Cleary's moved above Craig Bellamy.
But even then, at this point in time, you've got to put, barring history and just talking about modern and current generation, you've got to put Ivan Cleary above Wayne Bennett. Because in the past 14 years, Was Ivan Cleary even coaching? When did he lose with the Warriors?
2011.
Oh, yeah, so he was coaching at the same time. Since Ivan Cleary started, Wayne Bennett has won 0.
I'll just check what year Ivan Cleary started as Warriors coach, because he started before 2011. So when did he start? Started in 2006 as Warriors coach.
Okay,
that was his first
Wayne
season.
Bennett
as a
has
first
2 in the
coach.
period since Ivan Cleary started, and Ivan Cleary has 4.
Yeah.
So out of the current modern coaches, you'd have to. I personally think Ivan Cleary is the best.
But I guess overall we'd put Wayne Bennett at the top because he's won the most premierships.
absolutely.
If we're being consistent, he's won 7 premierships. So,
Overall.
like Novak Djokovic is judged on his Grand Slam titles, Wayne Bennett's judged on his premierships.
If Wayne Bennett had retired 10 years ago and had 7 premierships, he'd still be better than Ivan Cleary.
Yeah.
Because he's got 7 premierships. But comparable to today, you'd have to say Ivan Cleary is ahead of Wayne Bennett just on the current generation.
And like I get Craig Bellamy has a great win percentage. I get that week to week win percentage. I understand that. But nobody talks about Novak Djokovic's win percentage.
Yeah,
they talk about his Grand Slam titles.
Yeah, you only talk about win percentage when you're talking about Ricky Stewart.
With Ricky Stewart, you just find whatever you can to make him look
Keep going
good.
down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, just find whatever you can.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't been around for 20 years.
And could I just point out as well that how silly now does it look that Craig Bellamy was named Dally M Coach of the Year? How stupid is that? Why not wait till after the Grand Final to give these awards out? Clearly Ivan Cleary's the Coach of the Year now. That Dally M Coach of the Year means nothing now with Bellamy getting that award.
But it should have gone to Cam Serraldo.
Do you think?
Because the Coach of the Year is the most improved Coach of the Year.
Yeah, well...
historically, based on history, it should have gone to Cam Serraldo.
Well, he took them from 15th to 6th.
Yeah. Historically, over the past 10 years, based on the judging requirements for all the past 10 years, that's what it should have been. I always thought, because the Dally M's is based solely on the regular season and not on the finals, I always thought that the Coach of the Year is the one that wins a minor premiership. And so Craig Bellamy. But it's not. That's the thing, right? That's what I thought it should be, because it's based solely on the regular season. But it's not. It's based on other stuff. Right? Most improved, generally. So, yeah, in reality, it's the Coach of the Year should be awarded after the Grand Final. It's the guy who wins the Grand Final. That's it. Because it's such a nonsense thing. Because
how stupid is that?
Anthony Seibold won it or whatever, that year, and...
You give the award... in the week leading up to the Grand Final to a coach who then gets out-coached on Grand Final day by a better coach.
And that's why the Coach of the Year has been dumb for years, and it will continue to be dumb because it doesn't make any sense. And it's really, really bad. They should never give it to anyone who's in the Grand Final.
Would you have given it to Serraldo or not? You'd have given it to...
But I think they
based
should
on
have,
what...
I think they should have, another coach.
Should they have another award?
Yeah.
A Coach of the Year and a Most Improved Coach.
Yeah. Got to call it something different, because Most Improved sounds like it's offensive in today's day and age.
Yeah. So
But I don't think they should have the Coach of the Year. I think they should have minor premiership winning coach. Here is an award for winning the minor premiership, because that's a hard thing to do. And you have been...
And I think the premiership winning coach should get a medal as well.
Yeah, and then...
in the AFL, they give the premiership coach the Jock McHale medal. They should do the same... Name a medal after a great coach, Jack Gibson or Wayne Bennett or whoever you want to name it after, and give it to the coach who wins the premiership.
So I think there should be a Dally M coaching award for the coach that took the team from the worst to the best. Right? Cam Serraldo this year. What's his name? Andrew Webster, was it last year?
With the Warriors,
Andrew Webster last year. I know Anthony Seibold got one once because he took South.
But what other name can you come up with, though? As you said, you can't call it Most Improved.
Well, no, they just name it after someone. They just name it after someone. That's all they got to do, you know.
Yeah, you wouldn't name it after Ricky Stewart, would you?
Most Improved Ricky Stewart. Stewart medal. And then, you have the Most Improved, you have the... minor premiership winning coach, because that's a hard thing to do and it is irrelevant to the Coach of the Year, and then the Coach of the Year is the one that wins it after the Grand Final, because no matter what, man, I use Wayne Bennett versus Brian Smith as a classic example, right? Brian Smith never beat Wayne Bennett in a Grand Final. Most of Wayne Bennett's grand final wins came against Brian Smith. A large amount of them, a large percentage of his wins came against Brian Smith. Imagine Brian Smith won Coach of the Year in any of those years. And then, the first time it's like, oh, that's pretty bad. The second time you're like, oh.
It's like when Shane Warne was bowling, he always used to get that South African batsman Daryl Cullinan out. He'd come into the middle. Shane Warne would only take maximum and over to get this guy out, right? Sounds like Brian Smith was Wayne Bennett's Daryl Cullinan.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Quite a few of Wayne Bennett's premierships came against Brian Smith. So imagine if it happened more than once, especially Brian Smith had got Coach of the Year and then Wayne Bennett won the premiership against him, and then it happened again. You'd be like, oh, this Coach of the Year thing. Oh. Brian Smith should mail him the medals, but
but well done to Ivan Cleary, the first coach since immortal Norm Provan at St George to win 4 premierships in a row. So well done. Yeah, I do think he is above.
They could call the Norm Provan medal.
They could. I mean, he is on the premiership trophy. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't have a problem with that.
So Phil Gould. Phil Gould was downgraded for this thing.
Yes.
The conspiracy theory is because the Queenslanders don't like him, and then there was all this thing about how people actually complained about him in the 2020 Grand Final, which that was the COVID-affected Grand Final.
Yeah, the one where there was only 50% of the crowd.
I have a WhatsApp group because you weren't allowed to people's houses and stuff like that. In my WhatsApp group, we were bagging the fact that Phil Gould, when the Panthers were down 26-0, Phil Gould was going, Panthers are on top here. And we're like, dude, come on. How biased
Yeah.
And so that was one of the complaints about it. So he was downgraded and not in the commentary, and instead we had Mr. Fatigue Andrew Johns and Mr. Fatigue Billy Slater. But, man, Phil Gould did the intro, and it was vomit-worthy. It was... nausea-inducing.
You say, who's Mr. Fatigue, Andrew Johns?
And Billy Slater, because they both kept talking.
I'll tell you who Mr. Moment is, Michael Ennis. He says moment every second word. Everything's a moment. But anyway, so what happened was, the reason I put this down on the rundown was I watched that post-game show. You talked about how Phil Gould was snubbed from the grand final commentary. He called the state championship final between the Jets, Newtown Jets, and the North Devils, the Queensland team, which the Devils actually won. Unfortunately, I wanted the Jets to win. So anyway, Gould was sort of kept on the back burner on these post-game shows, half-time shows, whatever. So anyway, on the post-game show, he was sort of they were talking about Liam Martin, and he was telling stories about Liam Martin as if he's still at Penrith or something. And one of the hosts mentioned that, Gus, this has a lot to do with you and the work you did at Penrith. He hasn't been at Penrith for 5 years. He left Penrith in 2019. Why is he still getting credit for what Penrith are doing? If you leave an organisation 5 years ago, you're not still getting credit 5 years later for what's happening there.
Well, the only reason the Roosters are so good is because Ricky Stewart won that premiership.
Yeah. They won in 2018 and 2019 because of Ricky Stewart in 2002, right?
And there is a lot of valid complaints about Phil Gould's job in the media and his actually biased commentary. And I've talked about it before. I like New South Wales and State of Origin. They have the biased commentators, right? You like it. It makes it good. It actually gives an extra added element. Mm. But they're still going on about his 5-year plan. His supporters are still going on about his 5-year plan at Penrith, what he did at Penrith, how he built up Penrith, and blah, 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 blah. But he's at the Bulldogs now.
I know, and as a Bulldogs fan, I watched that and I went, my club's paying you a huge salary to be the general manager. Stop talking like you're still the general manager of Penrith. No, you're the general manager of the Bulldogs now. You left Penrith 5 years ago. Stop taking credit for what Penrith are doing now. It's 5 years. It's not like it was last year or something. Yeah. It's 5 years ago. Move on.
He may have put systems in place that they've continued for juniors and blah, 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 blah. But
he's happy to take the credit. Oh, yeah, he loves absolutely. It. He loves it.
But it's Broncos made the grand final last year because of what Wayne Bennett did 5 years ago at the Broncos.
But why is it only him who no one ever says this about anybody else in any other role? It's only Phil Gould at Penrith. Yeah. 5 years later, it's still because of Phil Gould. No one ever says that about anybody else in any other role.
I want to know the statute of limitations on this.
How long does it go for? You reckon he can get another 5 years out of claiming credit for what's happening at Penrith?
Yeah, it's going to be like another.
You reckon
5 years.
If it's still going in 2029,
yeah,
that people are still going to be saying, "Oh, it's because of what Phil Gould did in 2019."
Yeah, it's nothing to do with Ivan Cleary. It's all because of what Phil Gould did.
Yeah.
You were speaking before of people who should shut their mouths and stay in their lane. Yeah. Peter Fitzsimons,
who
cares? Has given us his opinions on the NRL Grand Final. Other sports pundits are all looking for anything right now because it was such a success. I swear to God. And he's obviously the rugby union guys who tries to put rugby league down as much as he can.
This headline on his article after Penrith won was "The Panthers march on, but number 4 didn't put me on the floor." I'm sure Penrith weren't celebrating their grand final win. I'm sure they were sitting there going, "Oh, gee, it's a real pity that we didn't impress Peter Fitzsimons with this win."
No one considers
but
that.
Not everything is about you, Peter Fitzsimons. Why don't you go and focus on rugby union, your own sport? Oh, that's right. No one cares about rugby union.
Well, yeah, no one's going to click on the news article if it's about rugby. Did you know that the Wallabies played recently? The Bledisloe Cup was on? You know how I know? It's because Jake, one of the guys at Jiu-Jitsu, he doesn't go on Saturdays if there's a rugby union game. That's how I know there's a rugby union game on. Jake's not on the attendance list. I'm like, oh, there must be rugby union on. Sometimes it's not. But like,
and he keeps. It's not just this either. He keeps weighing into every time there's a concussion off a kickoff. He keeps weighing into that debate every time and saying that they need to change the rules.
Yeah, no.
Why doesn't he worry about rugby union's rules?
They need to change the rules for rugby union to make it so somebody will watch it. They need to make a rule that everyone has to watch it. They got all the old boys and stuff like that in there. Like, they can probably have some legislative control that makes everyone. It's a fine if you don't watch it. That's the only way anyone's going to watch that shit.
But you're right. He should be more worried about what rugby union are doing. What's their plan for getting out of this hole that they're in?
The fact that a rugby union journalist, he's a rugby union journalist, I use the term loosely, has to spend so much time talking about the NRL.
Yeah.
Shows how little care factor there is in.
You don't see any rugby league journalists writing about rugby union. They don't need to. Why would you? Why would you waste your time?
It's like a passing mention. The whole Suoli'i going to rugby union was like even a bit of a passing mention. They spent the next 2 years talking about Suoli'i and how good he is at rugby league. And the Angus Crichton situation, they spent like a year, it was a small footnote in the rugby league news. Oh, Angus Crichton might be going to rugby union. Anyway,
that's the only time rugby union gets any publicity is when it relates to rugby league players. Exactly. The only time you hear about rugby union is because, Joseph Suoli'i, for example, he's going to be the highest paid footballer in any code in Australia when he goes to rugby union. But that's the only time you hear about rugby union is when a rugby league player signs with rugby union. That's the only way they can get publicity.
It's like a footnote in the rugby league news. But
that's the thing. There's a limit to what a rugby league player can do for them. All a rugby league player can do for them, really, and it's less relevant now because newspapers are dying, is maybe get them a page or two in the newspaper saying, oh, Joseph Suoli'i played club rugby today coming back from an injury, or Suoli'i guided the Waratahs to a win or whatever. It might get them an article in the paper, but apart from that, I mean, it doesn't get them much else. It's probably not even worth the money, to be honest. No, although it is private benefactors who put up that money.
Exactly. They get the $110 million TV deal, and then a bunch of money donated from their rich mates.
Yeah.
I saw this today. So, moving on with Brad Fittler.
Yes.
Why do they let him near Fox
I saw it. It was so cringeworthy.
Why do they let him near the Fox sisters? And why doesn't he know to stay away from them?
It was cringeworthy. It was just make it stop. I was watching it. And I went, you're not really going up to... They were in the dressing rooms after the game, celebrating Penrith's win. And I saw it and I thought, you're not really going to go up to Jess Fox again, are you, Brad?
No,
and he did.
He did. He really
and you just went, oh, make it stop. Make it stop.
No, it was awful.
I was going to change the channel just out of cringe. I just couldn't watch it.
I watched it today on social media. I don't know which social media. I look at too many. It might have been Reddit. And I was just like, oh my God.
So just to give people a little bit of context, if you were not aware, just not long after, of course, Jess Fox had that very successful Olympics. I think she won 2 gold medals at the Olympics off the top of my head. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
Not long after the Olympics, Jess Fox was at a Panthers game earlier in the season, and her sister Noemi, who also won a gold medal, they were being interviewed by Brad Fittler, and so Brad Fittler, as a joke, said, "Oh well, look, I hope the kiss cam comes on." When he was talking to them, and as you can imagine, it was very awkward for everyone concerned.
They were like,
and yeah. And that was an awkward enough moment in itself, and you would have thought that after that, having a moment that was, dare I say it, moment, that word, you would have thought after having that level of awkwardness that he would have just left it alone this time if he saw Jess Fox. But no, he couldn't help himself. He went up to Jess Fox again in the dressing rooms and had to interview her, and it was 10 times more awkward this time.
Yeah, she's a mad Panthers fan, that's why she was there.
Yes.
Then he tried to hand her a beer, and he's just like, dude. Honestly, I can't understand what really went through his head.
He tried to hand her a beer.
And she was like, no. He had to put it on the ground. Like, it's so bizarre.
And at the end, he sort of said, "Oh, it's great to see you, Jess." And I thought, oh, God.
It wasn't great for anyone
the sooner you get away, Brad, the better.
Imagine what was going through his head. It was like, oh, there's Jess Fox. I should go have a repeat of what happened last time. Ugh.
How you saw the footage.
Yeah.
How awkward was that?
No, it was so much. Like, you could cut the awkwardness through the screen.
On a scale of 1 to 10, that was 10 out of 10 awkwardness.
I was downloading cringe as I watched. my internet slowed with the sheer amount of cringe I was torrenting. Like, oh God, stop talking. Just walk away. And why was there not a producer going, shut it. Cut to anything.
What happened was Alana Ferguson, the Gillaroos player, she actually interviewed Jess Fox on the field after the game, and I thought, oh, well, this is being done deliberately to make sure Brad Fittler doesn't interview her again. But then they get in the dressing rooms and Brad Fittler goes and interviews Jess Fox again.
Just cut to anything. Dancing with the Stars. Go. Like anything. But no,
I'll tell you what, that's one thing I really don't want to see happen again is Brad Fittler interviewing Jess Fox again.
I saw a great comment that was like, if Kerry Packer was still around, he would have been on the phone saying, get this shit off my television. if you weren't aware of the Doug Mulray.
Yeah. He rang, when Doug Mulray's show, didn't he? And said, you get this off
there. It was, get this shit off this shit off my TV station.
Yeah. Where's Kerry Packer when you need him?
You really needed it, because that was what was happening. So then also, of course, everyone complained about the kickoff time.
Yes.
For the grand final being 8:05. Was it 8?
I think it was 7:30, or a bit after 7:30.
I couldn't know.
But it was officially 7:30, but with all these things, it starts.
We were well into it because it was also UFC 307. So we've been sitting in front of the couch drinking beers.
Yeah, that was on at the pub before the grand final.
12 o'clock or something.
Who won the UFC?
Alex Pereira Poltan did the most gruesome, brutal beatdown of Khalil Roundtree. Honestly, anyone has ever seen. Mark Goddard, the ref, said to Joe Rogan afterwards, "I've been a ref for 20 years, and I've never in my life heard anything like what it sounds like when Alex Pereira hits someone." It's like it was a really, really good fight, and in the fourth round, Pereira just... It's gross. You just go on the internet and look at Khalil Roundtree's face, like cut over his eye, cut below his eye, cut on his nose, like. And in the end, he didn't even beat him down. Khalil Roundtree actually like kind of had to give up. It was a good fight, and he just had to go like nope, and he squatted, and then the ref went no.
Yeah.
This is bad. Like, whoa. But yeah, that was really good. So we've been going since like 12, and it came whatever time that kicked off, and now people are all complaining because it's too late and it finishes too late. And there's always, go back to the daytime grand final, go back to the afternoon like the AFL does. But I believe the AFL is doing a twilight one next year.
Right, okay, well, that's interesting because the AFL actually got... I don't like to say it, I really don't. I wish I wasn't saying it, but the AFL Grand Final did rate higher than the NRL Grand Final. The AFL Grand Final got 4.02 million viewers on Channel 7. The NRL got 3.4 million viewers on 9. So... I think the AFL. The reason I think the AFL came out on top was because they had Sydney and Brisbane were in it. Mm-hmm. So you had Sydney and Brisbane watching it. Melbourne people, and it was in Melbourne, so Melbourne people are always going to watch the AFL Grand Final. Whereas with the NRL Grand Final, you had a Sydney team and a Melbourne team, but Brisbane sort of got frozen out of it because the game was in Sydney. So Brisbane sort of had nothing to do with the game, and so you froze out that third market. And I think that's what cost the NRL in the head-to-head battle with the AFL with the Grand Final TV ratings. Now, look, what I think is, I like the theatre of it being on at night. I do like the theatre of it, under lights. You have the music act on beforehand. I think that's a good aspect of the night Grand Final. Well, what I think, though, is a myth that I don't think you really draw... If the hope is to draw... new people to it by having it on at night as opposed to having it on during the day. I don't really buy that. I think if you're interested in it, you're going to watch it whether it's at 3 p.m, 5 p.m, 7 p.m.
One of those things that I always talk about, like, before they do anything, they really need to ask themselves, who will this bring into it and how will it make people leave? Like changing the kickoff rule. Who will this bring into it? No one. Why will it make people stop watching? Yes. Changing the time, who will it bring into it? Like, honestly, no one. Look, straight after the AFL Grand Final, straight after it, on the AFL website, they had an article by Damien Barrett talking about how they should push the AFL Grand Final back to later. So, even though, like I said before, AFL pundits are looking for any reason to bag the NRL Grand Final. Okay, and one of them they've popped up with constantly, and they keep doing the comparison. Ours is better because ours is during the day. On the AFL website, there are people writing about how it should be later. I honestly, it doesn't matter what they've had twilight ones in my lifetime. They've had earlier ones in my lifetime. The NRL.
Yeah, they had twilight ones. Not that long ago. I remember that 2012 Grand Final, Dog Storm. That was a 5 o'clock kickoff. That one.
And my problem with that is, then I have nothing to do for the rest of the night. Like, it finishes at 7:30, and I'm like,
yeah. Well, that's an argument for the night Grand Final.
I guess I'm going home now.
I think the night Grand Final came in. I think it came in 2001. Before that, it was a day Grand Final in the NRL. It went to night Grand Final in 2001. Then, as I said, they had that period where they did these twilight Grand Finals, these 5 o'clock kickoffs. Now they've gone back to this nighttime slot. I guess and again, there's arguments for and against, obviously. One argument against the night Grand Final is that, the playing surface is a bit more greasy. You got the dew on the ground. During the day, you have a drier playing surface, so you get a more expansive game and less mistakes. There's arguments either way. To be honest, I got to be honest though, I like the night Grand Final. I like the theatre of it. I like how you build up to it all day. I like having it under lights. As you said, it's a good point you make as well. What do you do the rest of the day after the game, once the game's over?
That's what happened with the AFL. You know what happened after the AFL Grand Final? I did my washing. Yeah. So much time left over. I was like, what do we do for the rest of the night? Yeah. So I did my washing, and then I watched one of the Avengers movies or something with my son.
But I think they're sort of... it's sort of semantics, isn't it? If the TV stations are sitting there going, oh, gee, we've got to move this to the night to get more people watching. Semantics. No, if people are going to watch it, they're going to watch it no matter what time it's on.
They're going to watch it no matter what. So, but no matter what time they have it, people will complain anyway. Like I said, AFL is during the day, which...
Yeah, you move it back to the day, they'll say push it to the night. That's the thing. The AFL won the ratings with the game on during the day this year, but beat the NRL Grand Final with the game on during the day.
Depends a lot on who's in it as well.
Yeah. But I think it's more to do with who was in it.
Yeah.
Sydney and Brisbane got drawn into the AFL Grand Final. Melbourne people always going to watch it. Games on in Melbourne this year. We had a Sydney and Melbourne team in the NRL Grand Final. The game was in Sydney, so Brisbane got frozen out of it.
I know people who have never watched an AFL Grand Final or an AFL game in their life who watched the Grand Final this year.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you look at the teams that were in the Grand Final. It was the Panthers, which do have a large following, and Melbourne. If it had been the Panthers and the Rabbitohs, it would have been a much different thing, you know? Because the Rabbitohs have...
That's the thing. That year where the Rabbitohs and the Bulldogs were in the NRL Grand Final, the NRL Grand Final beat the AFL Grand Final by a lot that year in the ratings.
It depends on who's in it as well. So, yeah. I mean, and Melbourne want to say they have the most members and they have like so many members and stuff, but that's all a load of nonsense as well. So, don't worry, we don't have too long to wait for more rugby league.
Yes.
The
Pacific
Championship Cup is starting in 2 weeks, and the squads have been named for all of the teams now. The Tongan side also got named now. Jason Tomalolo's in it.
Yeah, well, some big outs for the Kangaroos.
The talking point.
James Tedesco left out. Kalen Ponga left out. Jake Trbojevic left out. Daly Cherry Evans left out.
Out of all those, DCE is the weirdest one to me. Ponga obviously had that whole thing that we talked about, and you talked about with Craig Gower.
That's the thing. He played his hand. He told them that he wasn't interested. Yeah. That he was never going to get picked after that. Why would they pick him after he said he didn't want to be there? There was no way he was going to get...
He reversed his decision so he didn't get fined or suspended.
Yes. But geez, doesn't he look silly? He looks really silly. Went through all of that for nothing. Didn't get picked in the end.
Apparently, the Knights were informed he was going to get picked. You know? The Knights were actually informed he was going to get picked. That's why he released his press release. And then... he was like, no, I changed my mind because I don't want to get suspended for next year.
So he's cost. and Craig Gower made a great point on our podcast last week. He said, well, why is Kalen Ponga so obsessed with winning a premiership with the Knights? They're not going to win they're not even close to winning a premiership. He's their only star player. They need a lot of help if they're going to win a premiership. Yeah. So if he's holding out for a premiership, I don't think he's at the right club somehow. So he's the sort of player who should... really look forward to opportunities to play rep football. It gives him something else to focus on because his team's not going to win a premiership for ages.
Anywhere near it.
So he's the sort of player who should want to play for Australia. I thought it was a really good point made by Gowie. So yeah, this Australian team lost 30-0 to New Zealand in the Pacific Championship final last year. We should point that out. Tedesco and Cherry Evans were in that team, so you know I don't know. To be honest, I don't know if they can really complain too much. We should also point out that Mitchell Moses outplayed Cherry Evans in the State of Origin series as well, with New South Wales winning that series.
Yeah, he's been named.
So Mitchell. I actually don't mind it. I think it's a bit of a look to the future. Mitchell Moses getting that spot above Cherry Evans again. He was the better player in the Origin series. What's the Origin series there for if it's not used as a guide for picking the Australian team? So I actually like the decision of going with Moses over Cherry Evans.
What, Cam Munster hasn't been picked, so but the only
I think he's it's injury related with him.
Got that groin injury.
Yeah, and obviously Nathan Cleary shoulder surgery.
So there's
not
Matt
considered.
Burton, Ben Hunt, Mitch Moses are your halves. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Jake Trbojevic and Daly Cherry Evans were the Origin skippers. Neither of them picked. I don't think Jake Trbojevic should have been there. I agree with that decision. He was ordinary in the final series, only 44 metres against the Roosters, only 55 against the Bulldogs. So I don't think he deserved a spot either. And Tedesco really has slowed down a lot. I don't blame him for making that decision
I think
either.
Tedesco was never going to get picked, but yeah, I think Daly Cherry Evans has been a little bit hard done by, especially because Ben Hunt's in there. Like, if you're going to...
Well, that's the thing. I don't think Ben Hunt should be there either.
Yeah, if you're going to pick Ben Hunt, why would you not pick Daly Cherry Evans?
Maybe they're just...
Instead of him.
It must just be a positional thing. Like, they can use Ben Hunt as a hooker.
Yeah, they got Harry Grant as the main hooker.
Yeah, so they need a backup hooker. And Ben Hunt's probably done that job pretty well before, but I think with Ben Hunt, it's a lot more about reputation than it is about form at the moment. I mean, his form towards the end of the season was terrible.
Well, there's come out today that the relationship between him and Shane Flanagan might be now past its breaking point. Can't be repaired. So then you got, this amazing back line where, of course, Dylan Edwards has got the nod, and you've got people in it like Zach Lomax, Xavier Coates, Bradman Best. It's going to be a good series, and you would expect Australia to get there.
You'd expect New Zealand won 30-0 last year. They don't have the great Madge Maguire coaching them anymore, though. So,
but I think what was the weird one was Lindsay Smith. He played well for the Panthers, but that was a bit of a shock. Maybe it was just because he could also cover more positions. Who knows? But yeah, so I think out of all those guys, Jake Trbojevic shouldn't have been there. Ponga was never going to get picked after he basically said he doesn't want to be picked.
No, he dug his own grave on that one.
And probably will never get picked again until he realises, oh crap, I can't win premierships here. No, I do want to get duties.
Yeah, it's a really good point from Gowie. Yeah. It doesn't say, I think you mentioned, is it a groin for Cameron Munster? It doesn't say in this report I'm looking at what the injury is, but it does say he's been ruled out. So
yeah, he had the groin all year.
Yeah, right, okay. So it's a surgery thing. He hasn't been left out. He hasn't been omitted. It's because he's having surgery. Get Cameron Munster.
I think it was him who had the groin all year.
I might look that up, actually.
Yeah, Cameron Munster groin. I got it in this news article on ABC.
Yeah, not available due to upcoming surgery. Yep, that's right.
Because his doodle hurts. But well, and the
Harry Grant vice captain as well. Well done to him.
Isaiah Yeo captain.
Yeah, Isaiah Yeo captain.
He was always going to be there. He's had a ridiculous year.
So congratulations to those two. Tom Trbojevic picked as well.
Yep. Returning after 6 years away.
Well done to him. Yes, ending a 6-year test exile. Yep. So be good to see him turn out for the green and gold again.
The back line's ridiculous, and the forwards are ridiculous. So we're going to have
you
the
would think
expectation that Australia will win, but.
And I mean, Mal Meninga, I thought he should have been under serious pressure after they lost that final 30-0 to New Zealand. Yeah. Australian teams can't be losing finals 30-0 to New Zealand. He was lucky to hold his spot as coach, Mal Meninga, and so I think he had to make these changes. Yeah. If the coach wasn't going to change, well, the playing personnel had to change after that horror defeat in last year's final.
Yeah, we talked about it last year. Ricky Stewart has a way better winning percentage than Mal Meninga and only lost one game. He got booted.
But that's the thing, you're coaching the Australian side, you've got to have a very high win percentage.
That's what it is, though. Like, the way the Australian team works is if you lose a final, you're out.
It should be. Meninga was lucky to survive. Yeah. I think he's only survived because of his standing in the game as an immortal. If it had been someone with less of a standing in the game, I think they would have got punted after that.
100%. Segue to Michael Maguire.
Gorden
Tallis is going on and on about his mortal enemy Michael Maguire again.
Yeah.
Dude, I really loved what you and Gowie talked about last week, because you mentioned Gorden Tallis and he's like, we don't want your New South Wales coach. If they win a premiership, no one's going to care where he's from.
It's only because Gorden Tallis has got it in for Michael Maguire because he's still bitter about this year's Origin series. He can't move on from it. That's the only reason. Michael Maguire showed him to be a fool after that State of Origin series because the two were engaged in a slanging match over the course of the series, and then Michael Maguire had the last laugh because New South Wales won the series. Gorden Tallis had egg on his face and he can't move on from it. These Queenslanders, they really have a lot of trouble moving on. 3 months on from that Origin series defeat, he's still hanging on to it. He can't let go of it.
Yeah, that nonsense about, we don't want a Queenslander coaching, a New South Welshman coaching a Queensland team. Todd Payton is a New South Welshman.
And so Gorden Tallis was talking on Triple M's Sunday Sin Bin, right? And his quote was, when it's a big club, you go and get the best coach, and if you don't ask Craig Bellamy, you don't ask Ivan Cleary, then you don't know. They were never going to get Craig Bellamy or Ivan Cleary.
Parramatta apparently offered him $10 million.
They were never going to get those two people. Do you not understand, Gordon? They were not available. They're under contract with their current clubs, and they're going well. They're not going to leave their clubs.
Yeah.
You can only sign who's available, Gordon.
As Parramatta apparently offered Craig Bellamy $10 million to go there, and he said no. Craig Bellamy is not there for money, so he's never going to leave Melbourne.
Yeah.
That's it. Doesn't matter. Ivan Cleary's not going to walk away from Nathan Cleary. If Nathan Cleary goes off to Super League to be with Mary Fowler and stuff like that, which is all the rumours now, I saw this. I saw the great comment like, he's only with her for her money. And her fame. Imagine being Nathan Cleary.
Yeah.
People can say that about you. But she's never going to leave her. Like, it's that's the kind of the rating. Like, it's more viable for him to move to the Super League than for her to move to an Australian league.
Yeah.
So, if Nathan Cleary leaves Penrith, then maybe Ivan Cleary will leave Penrith. But there's just no chance you're going to be able to get them. And why is it okay to take Ivan Cleary? Is Ivan Cleary a Queenslander?
No, I think he's a New South Welshman. No,
he is. He's a New South Welshman. Yeah. So why is it okay to take Ivan Cleary, who's a New South Welshman, when it's not
born in Sydney? Yeah,
it's not okay to take Michael Maguire, who's a New South Welshman.
Yeah.
Because Gorden Tallis just babbles nonsense. And, we get a lot of whenever you have a podcast, you get a bunch of people who comment and say you just babble nonsense. But Gorden Tallis definitely babbles nonsense.
He does, and Gorden Tallis also said he was trying to make out like, these recent success that Maguire has had as a rep coach don't mean anything when it comes to a club side. Obviously, we mentioned Maguire coached New Zealand to that 2023 Pacific Championship win, that 30-0 win I talked about before over Australia in the final. Coached New South Wales to that his first Origin series as coach. Coached New South Wales to victory over Queensland this year. Tallis is banging on saying, it's totally different to rep footy. Yeah, but Maguire's got a better record than Walters at club level as well. Maguire won the 2014 Premiership with South. Maguire's got a Super League Premiership with Wigan in 2010. Kevin Walters doesn't have a Premiership as coach. So what's he going on about? Maguire has a better record as a club coach, week-to-week coach, than Walters.
Look,
what's this guy going on about?
Don't let facts get in the way of a good story.
Seriously.
Like, he's beyond ridiculous.
Seriously. So either way you look with Maguire, all right, look at his club record. As I said, he's won 2 premierships. Look at his recent rep record. It's sensational. And that's the thing. Like, people will go, and I know Walters coached Queensland, right? I get that. But these wins that Maguire had on the rep scene recently, they were hard wins to have. New Zealand beating Australia 30-0. New South Wales beating Queensland in any State of Origin series is a huge achievement, given what Queensland have done to us in the last 20 years at State of Origin level. Any win a New South Wales coach has is a really good win. So what's Tallis going on about here?
Well, he's Gorden Tallis. It's just absolute nonsense. Like, Michael Maguire is currently the best coach that was on the market, and Brisbane Broncos.
That's the thing. You can't. He's saying, we didn't replace Walters with Craig Bellamy. No, because he's not available.
He's never gonna.
He's not available. He's not going to the Broncos.
Everyone's been trying to get Craig Bellamy forever, and you know what Craig Bellamy does?
He says no.
Maybe I'll go to another club. No, I've re-signed with Melbourne Storm. Why do you think Jason Riles has gone to Parramatta? Because Craig Bellamy was meant to retire.
Yeah.
Not go to another club.
You can only sign who's available. The coaches available, Maguire was the best option.
Absolutely the best option. And that was their target, and that's what they decided. You gotta think, though, like, if Michael Maguire doesn't go well, it has to finally come down to the board with the Broncos. Someone that, they finally need to. Parramatta's having another board upheaval. I got the notification because I live in the Parramatta area. I got a bloody pamphlet drop in my mail about it. How I should join and
If you had to say, will the Broncos win a premiership in the next 5 years under Maguire? I reckon they will with their roster.
I reckon they have a good
I reckon
chance.
they're a good chance of doing it, winning a premiership in the next 5 years with him as the coach.
You can all you want. Like Gorden Tallis wants to use Michael Maguire's Tigers record against him, but
as we talked about, it ends in tears with the vast majority of coaches.
Everyone since 2005.
Well, the only coaches that it doesn't. Well, with Wayne Bennett. It does end in tears with Wayne Bennett because he leaves a trail of destruction. Yeah. So even the coach with the most premierships leaves a trail of destruction. Mm. So what hope does every other coach have? The only coach who really can sort of pick his time to leave now is Craig Bellamy, really, and I think Ivan Cleary will be like that as well now. Yeah, they're the only two. But everyone else is in the same boat. If you have a couple of bad years of results, you're gone.
If Ivan Cleary goes to another club now, right, with his Panthers thing, you don't know what's going to happen. When in the past, like him going from where did he go, Warriors to the Panthers? I think Warriors to the Panthers, and then to the Tigers, and then he went back to the Panthers. It's not going to be a case where he's going to convince people from the Warriors to leave and move over to Australia, right? So he couldn't do what Wayne Bennett does. Because he didn't have the reputation. He didn't have the record. When he went from Panthers to the Tigers, no one's going to convince anyone to go to the Tigers. When he went from the Tigers to Penrith, he didn't want anyone from the Tigers. But now if he was to leave, there is a real inherent danger that he would take players and stuff with him and do the Wayne Bennett. Because that's what coaches do. That's the other thing. It's good for every other club because Michael Maguire wasn't currently employed. But he screwed New South Wales. Mm. You know, New South Wales is now the same situation they were at this time last year. They need a new coach.
Yeah. You can't blame Maguire, though. No, I mean, and that's the other point, mate. Like, you and I haven't had a chance to talk about it yet because it actually happened just after the podcast with Gowie last week. It actually all came out just after we finished recording. So we haven't had a chance to discuss it yet, but the reason that I don't blame him at all is because if he had stayed on as New South Wales coach and lost next year, well, they might have just said, see you later. It probably would have had to have been a bad loss, but if they lost 3-0 and got thrashed in all the games, he would have been sacked, and then his stocks would have come right down. He had to maximise the opportunity with his stocks being up high.
I got one of those Instagrams or TikToks or whatever, where it was a clip from us after State of Origin, where we discussed Michael Maguire and how he should take a club job because of the danger of New South Wales being a New South Wales coach. So you'd have to be an idiot.
Because that's the thing, his stocks are sky high because he won a series with New South Wales, coming off winning that final 30-0 for New Zealand over Australia. So his stocks are up here now. If he had gone another year and they got thrashed in all the games, lost 3-0, his stocks would have come right down, and good luck at that point getting a club job if that had have happened. Exactly. So he had to take advantage. He had to, what do they say, make hay while the sun's shining? Yeah, that's what he had to do.
Yeah, it was always going to happen. And finally in rugby league, as I touched on before, Ben Hunt and Shane Flanagan now absolutely hate each other.
Yes.
The relationship is, by all reports, beyond repair. Mm-hmm. And after November, Ben Hunt has already been moved on, is what I heard today from an unnamed source that I can't name. But come November 2, Ben Hunt's manager will have done a miraculous negotiation to get an early release.
Yeah, very damning from Danny Widler in his SMH column on Saturday, I should say. He says, apparently Flanagan just gave it to Ben Hunt in this review that they had. He just gave it to him.
Over the last 3 rounds.
Yeah, he told him his performances, including his defence, kicking game and leadership when his team's finals hopes hung in the balance, were not befitting of his standing in the side. According to Danny Widler, Hunt was deeply hurt and offended at being salary shamed. Well, sorry, Ben, if you're on the big bucks, you got to deliver. You can get upset about it, but you're on that money. And you didn't, as he said, as Flanagan rightly pointed out, when their season was in the balance, they had a really good chance of making the 8. They didn't, and it was largely because Ben Hunt didn't deliver in games like that one against Parramatta where they scored 40 points and somehow lost the game.
Well, that was it. He So apparently, what I heard today from somebody who I can't name is
interesting.
The deal
Inside
is actually
sources.
Done. The deal is actually done, but Of course they haven't spoken to anyone because they're not allowed.
But do you know which club?
No.
Oh, okay. Right.
But there's...
That's interesting.
Managers never speak to anyone outside of the rules. So they'll wait till November 1. And then begin the negotiations and then finish it by November 2.
I mean, I know you won't say which club it is, but Andrew Johns was saying that I think the Titans might be keen on him. But anyway.
Well, he wants to go to the... Well, yeah, Des Hasler wants him. Des Hasler has already said he wants him.
Does it have a very experienced halves pairing with him and Foran there?
Yeah. Foran's got one more year, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, and then so it'll...
I'll double check that.
But yeah, it'll be done. The manager will be out shopping him around on November 1 when he's allowed. It's already been done. Come on, guys. But you'll see it very early in November is what I hear.
Yeah, you're right. Foran does have another year to go, 2025.
And I think what you'll see is Ben Hunt and Kieran Foran at the Titans, and it'll just be for that 1 year of rebuild to have the senior players, and then the year after will be what Des Hasler's actual goal is.
I think they go with those two in the halves if they can stay injury free most of the season. I think the Titans would be a sneaky chance of making the 8 with those two in the halves.
That's where they'll get their growth for the year. They'll do the Bulldogs kind of thing.
And that having been said, he didn't make the 8 this year, and
That was really weird. Remember, Titans untippable, but also always breaking the tips every week.
I was just saying, Ben Hunt didn't make the 8 with the Dragons. But I guess
when you combine Kieran Foran
with Foran with him, bit of help in the halves.
But I think it's more to do with like building the Titans up, like that. Not that I know, not that I know everything, but more to do with building the Titans up for an extra year for the following year. Because what Des Hasler needs to do now is the Cameron Ciraldo. He needs to improve the Titans next year, and they could be a shock and make the 8, but really the goal will be to come like 10th, 9th, that kind of thing.
Sort of in two minds about it. I know we don't know which club it is with Ben Hunt, but from a Bulldogs point of view, I'm in two minds about whether I'd want Ben Hunt. I think because I
shouldn't take him.
Oh yeah, I just think, is he the guy who's going to win them a title? No, he's not. No. He's not, and he's shown that in the past. His past performances indicate that he's not a player who performs in big games. I don't think
he could get on board with Cameron Ciraldo's methods, to be honest.
And he's at the age where there's no point now.
I think Shane Flanagan's a hard taskmaster. From what I've heard about Cameron Ciraldo, you've really got to buy in. Like they had the whole thing last year with 8 players who didn't buy in, and all those 8 players are gone. And
they got rid of him, and then he's got players who've bought in, and he's gone from 15th to 6th in 1 year. Yeah,
exactly. So that's it for Rugby League. Well done, Panthers. We'll always have Rugby League news, but we'll be talking about something else for the next couple of weeks. I touched on it before in the AFL. That Swans Grand Final was... Well, the AFL Grand Final was abysmal. Mm-hmm. It was a hard watch. First quarter was competitive, and then from there the Swans just didn't turn up.
We haven't had a chance to talk about this yet because we had Gowie on last week and you weren't here. So, just unbelievable. It really got away from the Swans, as you said, in that second quarter. The Lions just... The game was over at half-time, basically. The Lions ran away with it in that second quarter. The backlash against the Swans... as a result of that horror defeat, lost by 60 points to the Brisbane Lions. It's even at a point, and this is how bad it was. They got to the grand final. People are even talking about, well, should the coach go as a result of it? Yeah. They're talking about, well, we need to get rid of a number of players just on this horror grand final performance.
Did you watch?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
Oh, it was terrible. It was so hard.
They weren't even... This is the thing. Sam Newman, former AFL Footy Show host, said that he felt like the Swans didn't try. And if you think that... I wrote an article about it on our website. If you think that's too extreme, go and look at Matthew Lloyd on the Sunday Footy Show down in Melbourne. Went through the vision. These examples of Swans players not even trying, not going for the ball, not going hard at contests. Whenever the ball was there to be contested, there were 5 Lions players there and no Swans players to be seen. Awful. They didn't want to make body contact. They wouldn't go for the ball. So when Sam Newman says they didn't try, I think he's got a point. I don't think they did.
So the coach, that's the coach's third grand final loss. He's got a grand final win, right?
Longmire. So they've now lost. Yeah, he won the Premiership in 2012. The Swans have now lost 4 grand finals in a row: 2014, 2016. 2022, 2024. They've lost 4 in a row.
But all 4 of them have been smashings. You know, they haven't been competitive.
Yeah, by huge margins.
So you have to think that, yes, it is time for the coach to go because he's the... if he didn't have a premiership, he'd be the AFL's Brian Smith. You know, like, he just can't win a premiership. He can get in there, but he can't get them over the line.
Yeah.
And,
so that you mentioned the huge margins they lost by. Across those last 4 grand finals, the average losing margin's been 56 points.
Yeah.
Across 4 grand finals.
You know, I think the last one they lost by 80. This one they lost by 60.
The Geelong one, yeah, they got hammered.
They lost by 80. So next time it'll be 40. And then the next time after that'll be 20.
Yeah. Yeah. So
grand finals are not a place to start learning the game. Grand finals aren't something you work on over the course of years. So yeah, the next one we'll do it this way.
And that's the knock on the Swans is they've got a game plan that gets them to the grand final, but they lack unpredictability. They lack that flair to get it done on grand final day, and you can't argue with that assessment.
No, they didn't even try.
So yeah,
awful.
14, 16, 22 were the other losses too. I think I mentioned that, as well as 2024, obviously. Even Jude Bolton, he played in their 05 and 2012 premierships. He tore strips off the Swans. He said it was embarrassing to let it become such an uncontested game and that they were belted at the stoppages. Yeah. Even their former greats are getting into them on Twitter after this.
It was terrible. It really was. Like, if anyone didn't watch it, it's like it's kind of unwatchable. It was unwatchably bad. It was like an under-8 team against a first-grade team. It was just awful. And it's unbelievable that you'll get to grand final day and dish that up.
Yeah, I'd rather my team not make the grand final than make it and do that.
Yeah, it was awful. Like I think I turned it off after the third quarter because I couldn't watch it anymore. And then finally for the day, we've always got to bring up Taylor Swift and say the words Taylor Swift as much as possible because Taylor Swift is a very important
algorithm bug.
So the 49ers, San Francisco 49ers, are having a terrible run at the moment.
I think it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs are having a terrible run at the moment.
Yeah.
And Travis Kelce in particular is not having a good season. Yeah. And it's all Taylor Swift's fault.
Yeah, so Todd McShay from ESPN in America has said that, well, he's tired of not being able to say that, Taylor Swift's got something to do with this form slump from Travis Kelce. He says, this was a quote from McShay. He says, every show I watch, every pre-game show, halftime show, post-game show, weekday show, every broadcast I watched for the last few weeks, it's like, are we not allowed to say that he's out of shape? He feels like he's not allowed to say that Kelce's out of shape because he's dating Taylor Swift. That's what he's insinuating.
But the thing is, the stupidity of it is just because everyone hates Taylor Swift.
That's the thing. You can't blame Taylor Swift for Travis Kelce not playing well. You blame Travis Kelce.
The Chiefs have actually won all 5 of their games.
There you go. So they're pretty harsh, right?
Yeah.
I think they're worried about...
He's missed a couple of games.
I think they're worried about his form in particular or something maybe.
Yeah, his form is really terrible. And he's missed a couple of games as well.
But it's not affecting the team. But McShay continued. He said that he's been partying all off-season. He's been jet-setting around with the most famous person probably in the entire world. That he's drinking, going to the US Open, etc., etc. So... But that's the thing. You can't blame Taylor Swift for this. I mean, it's Travis. If she's distracting him, maybe she is, but that's on him. He's got to not allow that to distract him. It's on him to improve his performance.
The news is, of course, or the Swifties and the Taylor Swift support and the liberal media are all like, oh, you can't blame Taylor Swift, blah, 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 which is true. But it's become less of a, what's wrong with Travis Kelce and more of a, it's all Taylor Swift's fault. You can't say that. The media is no longer about Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're winning, so who cares in the end anyway?
Well, one thing I would say, though, is, and again, this is not a knock on Taylor Swift at all. Again, this is on, if Travis Kelce's form's off, for whatever reason, that's Travis Kelce's problem. It's not his girlfriend's problem.
The Chiefs' problem.
But what I would say, though, is if you are going to parade around with a very famous girlfriend, and you are going to live the high life like that, well, once your form starts to dip, people are going to say that. I'm sorry. They're going to say that, well, it's because you're being a show pony and you're not focusing on the job at hand. That's just the world we live in. That's reality. He's on the big bucks. He's got to deliver. You can't have it both ways. You can't have the celebrity girlfriend and do your lap of honour after winning the Super Bowl and then not cop the criticism once things don't go well on the field and when you get back on the field the next year.
He is on the big bucks.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I was actually watching rugby, the NRL Grand Final with an American dude that we know, shout out to Christian, and he was asking us about, how much do they get paid, and he was shocked. Well, Nathan Cleary's on $1 million. Is that all? So that's a lot, but he's so good. That's the highest paid one. What? Yeah.
Nathan Cleary's underpaid, everybody.
Yeah,
very, very much underpaid.
Well, when you compare him to Travis Kelce, I wonder what Travis Kelce's on. He's probably like $30 million a year or something.
I might look that one up.
Yeah. $14.3 million per season.
Yeah, there you go. If you're on $14.3 million a season, then you got to deliver. Yeah. And if you don't deliver, and if you're on $14.3 million and you have a very famous girlfriend and you're parading with her at all these events around the world, and your form suddenly starts to dip to start the new season, people are going to have something to say about it. Sorry, that's the world we live in.
His net worth currently in the middle of his contract is $50 million.
Oh, well. And why doesn't he just retire then?
Guaranteed. Because it's good because the NFL has salary guarantees now. So if you get injured and ruined for life, they still have to pay you out. So his guarantee of his $57 million contract was $22 million. So no matter what, he was always going to be worth $22 million. These AFL guys. All right, guys, that's it for the week. Don't forget to check out Optimum CBD for all your CBD. You must be over 18 to order. And follow at SmartB app on social media. And make sure you listen to the racing podcast with Bryce and Joe, which has been going really, really well. And their tips are kicking butt. Have a good weekend, and we'll find something to talk about next week.
Thanks, John. I'll see you next week, mate.